I was at the library the other day looking up old newspapers for a class report on Canadian history. I found one from 1823. There was a 5-page story by a news reporter who had an interview with a patient at an insane asylum. The patient's name was Christopher Erickson, but he was called the Windigo of Quebec by the locals. They named him after the Windigo, a monster that was believed to be real by the native Canadian peoples. The Windigo is a creature said to live inside all people, men and women. It dwells within all of us, and only awakens and reveals itself when a person consumes human flesh. Erickson had also filed his teeth down to such a sharp point they were said to look like a shark's teeth. He was one of the most depraved psychopaths of Canada, and even a cannibal. He had killed and eaten 3 pregnant women and their unborn children. The first woman was his very own wife, and his other 2 were his mistresses. When interrogated, he informed the police he had intentionally impregnated these women for the sole purpose of devouring them and his children. He was asked how he could have committed such a horrid crime, and he answered them with a question of his own. Should I feel bad? The first week at the asylum, Erickson had been said to continuously complain of hunger. Workers gave him food, but he refused to eat as he only craved human flesh. His cries were so loud and horrible that the workers had no other choice than to chain him down and have him gagged. He was put in a noise deprivation room, a room where no noise could escape. The workers left him in there for 3 days before opening the door to let the reporter interview him. They were surprised to find him completely calm. He looked very happy for some reason. His skin had become grey from the lack of sunlight, and his nails were all overgrown and looked more like claws than fingernails. He looked more like a demon than a man, the workers said. The workers removed the gags and they sat him down. He was held down so the reporter could interview him without any danger. The news reporter said that when he looked into Erickson's eyes, he could see the gates of hell. The reporter asked some questions, and Erickson sat quietly and would not respond. The workers noticed he was chewing on something, so they tried peering into his mouth to see what he was eating. He quickly swallowed what he was eating. At first they assumed that maybe a rat had somehow gotten into the room and had tragically become Erickson's meal. If so, it would have been the 3rd rat to do this. Their expectations were all dismissed and replaced with something far worse. The workers and the reporter looked in terror as Erickson held his mouth open. To everyone's horror and surprise, they saw his tongue was missing. Erickson had devoured his own tongue.